Alright guys, it's been a while since I've gone after socialism, but I'm back. I'm back and gonna attack it today in a massive way. And what prompted me to do this is because there was a free tuition that was announced by the Liberal government, and that was in 2017. And since then, we have elected a conservative government in the province that I'm in. So I'm in a Canadian province called Ontario, and we have elected conservatives, and they are cleaning house. They are fixing problems like you wouldn't believe. So the conservative government announced about 2 weeks ago that they are canceling free tuition because in its first year, that program cost the taxpayer $1.4 billion. So clearly unsustainable program, and that has caused a whole bunch of students to throw tantrums all across the province. So they're out there protesting. They are encouraged by the NDP, which is a socialist party in Canada. They're encouraged to go out and protest. They're also encouraged by the CBC via a whole bunch of articles the CBC is creating on this, and they are encouraged to make their voices heard in order to intimidate the government who killed this program to revert back and reinstate it. And I'm going to show an example today. I'm going to take what it is the students are asking for us to do and translate it into their world so that they can see why socialism is not a good idea. And it's going to be very simple to understand. You don't have to know anything about the history of socialism or communism to understand that it is a bad thing because of this example here. I'm a taxpayer, and that means that I pay taxes. Every year, my income gets taxed and I have to pay to the government. If I don't pay to the government, I will go to jail. Therefore, I am forced into paying taxes. Now, I pay about 40% of my annual income in taxes. So just to give you an idea, that means that from the month of January to the month of May, the end of May, it means that, is it May? Janvier, février, mars, avril, May. Yeah, 4.8%, 4.8 months of the year, that money goes to the government. So yes, May, almost to the end of May, that means that I work for the government. I don't work for the company I work for. I mean, I work there, but the government takes that part of my salary. So I essentially work for free for almost 4.5 months of the year. And if I were to, so that's the money, part of that money that I have to pay to the government and that many Canadians have to pay via our taxes is what constitutes your free education. So the money is coming from somewhere. So we have free healthcare, free education, all the way to university now in Ontario, which is ridiculous. And people want all sorts of other free stuff. Free housing, free food. You know, at some point we have to realize that it's unsustainable. Government of Ontario, the Conservatives, have realized that and they've cut the program. So you students out there who are out there protesting, let me demonstrate what it is in your world. So imagine you go from January until the end of May in your classes, and all the work that you do is not going to be credited towards your degree every year. So that means, you know, that somebody else is stealing what you've done, what you're accomplishing. They're taking the product of your labor away from you for that period of time, and you owe it to somebody else. They're going to take it from you and randomly give it to somebody else who's not studying or who doesn't want to study or who's study poor, right? Doesn't have the means to study or whatever, right? So imagine if the government did that to you. So how would that make you feel? First of all, and this is what we've seen in every socialist regime that has ever come to planet Earth, what happens is you lose motivation. That time that you're sitting in your classroom, all the notes you take, all the studying you do at the library, everything that you do, all the research is going to somebody else. Not credited towards your own degree, but credited to somebody else. How motivated are you going to be, right? Are you going to really want to work? So imagine that. That's what happens to Canadian taxpayers that have to fund your free education. I have to go to work, and I mean, I have no other choice but to be motivated because I'm going to lose my job because I work for the private sector. But the government is coming into that private sector and taking my money away from me. And in order to keep my job, I have to keep my performance up. But if the government were to take over everything, which education is one, if they are offering free tuition and then everything falls under the control of the government, people under that regime are not going to be motivated to work anymore. So not only is the government stealing your labor and your study time and whatever efforts you put in towards your degree and allocated it to somebody else at their discretion, you have no say in it, but on top of that, you are going to lose motivation. So apply that example to anything else that you can think of where you'd get free things. Imagine if you had free food, right? And everybody else had to work for it, and you were getting free food. Don't you think everybody would just start applying for free food? And then if everybody's applying for free food and getting free food, who's making the food? If you're a farmer and the government's just going to take your food, your production away, why are you going to bother farming, right? If you work in a company and it's a government-run company and the government is actually going to take away the stuff that you make, why are you going to bother working? You're going to be slow, take lots of breaks. There's no incentive. And this is the problem with socialism. It kills all incentive from any human being wanting to work, and therefore will drag everybody down with you. So students, when you say you want free education, it is not free. We are paying for it, the Canadian taxpayers who are funding this for you. So it's not free, and it's time for you to stop complaining about your free education and start getting a part-time job where you guys can actually work, support yourself, pay for your own degree. Don't get me to pay for it. You pay for your own stuff. I'm not in your house asking you to pay 40% of your whatever you make to me, so don't do that to other Canadian taxpayers. So figure your stuff out, get your own jobs, and pay for your own stuff. Or else everybody's going to be dragged down into this socialist nightmare that Venezuela's in. Just look at Venezuela. So anyways, guys, that's it for me today. I hope this helps people understand how awful socialism is, and I will see everyone in the next one.